Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in today. And today on the Tony Gomez Show, I have the pleasure of interviewing Mr. Lynwood King, singer for the
Up,
Heroine and the Revival. What's going on today, Lynwood?
man, I'm being daddy,
Yeah.
husband and daddy. I got home this morning at about 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Got up at 8, and one of our kids had baseball practice. I had to start doing honey-do chores
Yeah.
and just being dad and being husband.
Hey, I dig it, man. That's cool. My kids are already 25 and 21, but I've got a grandson and he's 3.5, and we're
Mhm.
fixing him into some sort of sports. But right now it's swimming lessons.
Right
And
on.
yeah, so that keeps me busy with him for right now, but I can't wait till we get into like some baseball or some soccer with him. That's going to be
Dude,
something really good. I'm really looking forward to.
so my oldest is 22, my youngest is 4, and I
Oh,
have a grandson. So I
yeah,
ain't never gonna retire, brother. I'm gonna have to work the rest of my life.
I definitely know where you're coming from, man. I know, definitely. God bless. Hey, but it sounds like your day job is rocking and rolling. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Doing the grind.
I, it's one of the few businesses I have that help make everything run in my life. You know,
Yes.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Music. Like I have a gig tonight, so I'm gonna as soon as we're done, I got to go load in another club, and the grind. I play the heroine's my main thing. That's what I do is the heroine.
Yeah.
But heroine's not touring. I'm here hustling. I'm a musician. I got to find gigs. I got to stay working. And
Yeah.
so,
So there's not a day job that you go to in the morning.
no, I own a business. Thankfully, it's when I started touring in 2003. When I joined the heroine, I had to figure out a way because I just left the band. I had a record deal out of Nashville, and I left that band and came back home, and I needed to work because
Yeah.
I wasn't any longer making money playing music. So a friend of mine was like, hey, I want to start a company. If you can invest in my company, I'll give you 50-50 split of it. And the heroine was fixing to go in the studio. And so I agreed, and I put some money up front. And, 20 years later, that company has, dude, it's been a blessing. I've been able to hire musicians. I've been able to support my family and at the same time be on tour.
Yeah.
So it's kind of you have to figure it out because
Yeah.
the music business, I've had some amazing shows where I've made a couple of thousand playing for
Yeah.
myself. And then I've had shows like last night where, we made expenses. And so you have to be creative.
Yes.
You have to, it's something that, I love to play and I play anywhere. And I'm thankful that I do make money playing music.
Yeah.
But I have 9 kids I have to support. And so thankfully I've been able to, by the grace of God, own a couple of businesses that have, financially helped me out in my music career.
You're a smart man, and you're hardworking. Hell yeah.
I appreciate that, brother.
Well, last night I got to see the heroine for the first time, and I had seen your name many times around on flyers and playing either at the House of Rock or at the Black Monk. And you guys fucking kicked my ass, dude. It was fucking.
Oh man. Well,
And I love the great energy, the great performance, and the hard fucking rocking jams that you guys threw down. And
right on.
song right there, hardworking man, dude. The way it's kind of seemed like your theme song.
Yeah.
And I love it, man. I love the lyrics. I love the way it's
Thank
put.
you, man.
Tell me the other names of the band members in
So Johnny Lightning, he's my drummer. He's one of my best friends in the world.
very cool back from him too.
Yeah, Johnny's a great guy. Wesley the Ghoulie Vargulish is our bass player. David Arias Jr. is our guitarist.
Okay.
We've had a few other members in the band. We have we've had several guitarists come in and out, but the main foundation is me, Wes, John, and David. That's the foundation right there.
That's fucking tight. How long has that core been together?
So me, John, and Wes are pretty much founding members, and
Okay.
David joined the band in 2014. And the funny story about David joining the band is,
Yeah,
David had known us for a while, and we'd been touring a lot. And David had a band that he was in called The Uprising, and I'd always see David play, and I was like, I want that guy in the Heroine. And we always had two guitarists before we had David, and I think it was in everyone's ear, but we didn't want to have the three guitar players in a band. You know, it's kind of like we couldn't afford it with two, so with three would be even harder.
Yeah.
But we were fixing to leave on tour in the summer of 2014, and we had an entire summer booked of dates. Right before the day before we were leaving, we had a show in San Antonio, and our guitarist at the time got just wasted. Our lead guitar player got just wasted, trashed, and
shit.
He just ended up. We were leaving on the road. He was a little bit upset with leaving on the road because he had some family problems he was having. But we're leaving on the road, and our van ends up breaking down outside of Bernie. We had a '94 Dodge Discovery, and the van broke down, and that just set him off. He got upset. We got our van towed back. I had to rent a new van, and he ended up just quitting the band before we left on tour. So we left on tour with the organ player filling in leads, and in the process, we're looking for a guitar player. So we all agreed David would be the guy we'd call. So
yeah,
we called up David, and he agreed to it. He pretty much knew all of our songs, and we were doing pretty well as a band, and so we were able to fly him to Denver to jump on tour with us.
Kick ass.
And we had dates we had a really good tour, man. We're all up the Midwest, and I think our anchor date was at Sturgis. We're playing Buffalo Chip over in Sturgis.
Wow.
And David came on board, and he was like a rock star. We flew him to Denver. The whole tour was great. Radio interviews, and the band was just like, every show was awesome. And so it was like David came at the perfect time because the Heroine was like just freaking launching.
Yeah.
And so we hooked him. Bam! We just, boom, brought him in, and he committed to the band. And he's been in ever since. And it's funny because now, like, it's not the same as it was then because COVID hit. You know, touring's not like it used to be, and so it was. It's kind of like it's a drastic change from pre-COVID.
Yeah.
To now, it's been hard for everyone.
It really has. Thank goodness finally at this moment we're on the other end of it and not through it like we were previously in 2020. And what a pain in the ass that was, man. Guys like me and you that are used to playing at bars, every weekend
dude.
And always grinding, setting things up. It just came to a freaking halt. And I could appreciate it for a quick little moment because then I had all the time I wanted to do shit at the house.
Bro, it was nice. It was nice to be home and then get those stimulus checks and then all this extra cash coming in, and you're like, man, this is good. I like it. But then once the money's gone, you're like, okay, I gotta make money somehow because the bills are gonna come in. So
big time.
Yeah, but it was cool for a minute, and then after a while, you start to realize. I think for me, I started to realize that the Heroine was a touring machine. We're road dogs. That's all we did was tour.
Right.
And we always had friends that did streaming, and they never toured, and we were kind of like, look at them, they're streaming. They don't know. We got to tell them you got to be on tour. And so we would never pay attention to the streaming game. But then once COVID hit, bro, all our friends that were in the streaming game, their careers launched. It was like they were prepared for COVID, and all of us who were road dogs that didn't really care about the streaming game had to scramble to figure it out, So that was the kind of crazy thing for COVID for me, because I had to sit in my little studio and learn how to stream, learn how to freaking do with editing and production. It's totally difficult. It's not like, so the touring game for us ended, and we had to figure out how are we going to be a band
right
through this, and it was not easy.
So did you put out some streaming during that time?
I started streaming. I started streaming on, I was really big into Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
So I was streaming a lot there, and I got monetized on Instagram, and it was really cool because like they're paying me to post videos. And
Nice.
it was great for a year. And then in October, they hacked all of our accounts. Someone hacked our accounts and totally took over all of our Instagram and all of our Facebook. And to this day, we've been arguing with Facebook to let us with Meta to give us back our stuff, and they can't prove it's ours.
Oh shit.
So we're in a position right now where I can't even stream on Facebook or Instagram because we have no following. And so what I've been doing is TikTok. I just been doing TikTok and YouTube, and it's been cool, but it's not like, yeah.
All right. And so you also have another band called The Revival. Is that your cover band?
Yeah, that's we call it a soulful jam band. You know,
right.
we kind of play everything. I have a musical palette of I love gospel, I love R&B, I love old school jam bands like the Grateful Dead and CCR and MC5. And so this other band I have, it's not as energetic as the Heroine, because the Heroine's balls to the wall, rock and roll. You cannot stop.
Yeah.
With the Revival, you know, we play 4-hour sets, and you know, we're just kind of jamming, and we basically just kind of write. We basically write whatever we want, you know, and we plug the thing in. But it's I love it.
That's a mix of covers and originals, then, right?
Yeah, it's a big mix of covers and originals. I actually just released a single with the Revival a few weeks ago called "It's You," and it's on all the streaming platforms. Let me plug this volume. Yeah, so it's on all the streaming platforms, and it's not doing great, but you know, it's a song that I wrote for my wife, and I have fun writing it, and it's different. It's way different than the Heroine. Totally not close to what the Heroine sounds like, but that's what I love about the Heroine is, you know, I couldn't play with any other band and do what the Heroine does. Yeah. It's got to be Johnny, Wes, and David.
Right.
And then the Revival is just a whole nother side of my creativity. I just love to play, and I can't sit still. If the Heroine was not playing, then I need to be playing somewhere else.
Dude, I definitely know,
what I mean, right?
Yes. And you know, one of my old bandmates from the 90s from my band back then was called Malignancy, and that drummer we had was Tito. And he's a drummer with you guys in the Revival, right?
Yes. Bro.
All right, man.
When he said that day during that interview at that conference, bro, I was like floored because I remember Malignancy. I remember that. I remember, and I also remember, you know, when I was a kid, I'd hang out in Corpus, because my musical roots, even though I'm not from Corpus, my first exposure with any type of band and clubs and venue, you know, like a real band, wasn't in San Antonio. It was in Corpus.
No,
I would hang out with my cousin Chris Gomez, and I would just hear him play guitar, and I'd always watch him and I'd ask him to teach me, and my cousin Chris has just been one of the biggest and greatest influence on my life with music, and him and Tito. And now I know you were jamming with them. It just blows my mind, because I remember following him around and having so much respect for Tito and Chris and you, because now I know you're playing with them. It's just like, it was a big deal for me.
Dude, I know that was 30 some odd years ago. Yeah, Chris was a great guy, man. He's such a talent already. Both those guys at such an early age, and I hadn't had a chance to meet him. And it was my guitar player, Chris Aguita, from my band Fractured Minority, that left Fractured to play guitar with these guys. And he said, "Hey, well, we need a singer. Why don't you step in and give it a try?" And so after that, you know, me and Chris have been good friends ever since. Tito and the guys.
Yeah, I need to go down there next time. Them two both go down there. We should all just hang out and have a barbecue or something. I know Tito loves a barbecue.
That would be fucking badass, dude.
I always joke with my cousin Chris, because he bought this something Pit Boss barbecue pit, and he's a good cook. He just happened to make some I like to call it beef jerky. He made some brisket, and so it was a little dry, but we're all buddies. We all love each other.
Yeah.
Whenever I see him, I go, "Hey man, you can make some more of that beef jerky?" He gets all pissed off at me, but they love the barbecue, and we got to hang out next time I go to Corpus, man.
Yeah,
Like we all go together. It'd be cool.
make some plans for that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, let me ask you, how did you get turned on to rock and roll, man? What and what was your first concert?
So my first concert was Chris and Tito
Yeah,
going to see their band play, and I think it was at Zeros or
yeah, we played Zeros. We're opening up for Dead Horse.
yeah, and I think there was a VFW show for their graduation. They had a show at the VFW, and
Yeah,
as it was their graduation party or something.
yeah.
And
Holy. Okay.
did you play that day? Did you play that one?
No, I'm thinking of I know we did a house party as a graduation party, and I'm thinking of the VFW. Man,
Yeah,
was
I
it
remember.
here? Did they have something else going on before I came around?
I just remember it was their high school graduation, and they had another band called Oppression, maybe.
That was right. It was Oppression.
Yes,
Right. Fuck.
and so like I grew up in the Catholic Church,
Yeah.
so for a young age, my mom was involved in singing in the church. And then when I turned 17, I had just a big experience with God. My life changed. I got saved. I gave my life to Jesus. And I started going to church. And the music in church is what really got my attention. Because
Yeah.
my pastor at the time was named Don Minner. And he was a touring musician. But he wasn't rich. He didn't make a lot of money. But he just toured.
Yeah.
And he played this Red Fender in church. And I will never forget. I was 17. I already had my experience with Chris and them, learning the love of music with them. But that experience with God changed my life. And then the music that I experienced in church from the age of 17 till I was 22, because when I was 17, I got saved and I quit listening to secular music. I only listened to gospel music. And
Okay.
I was 17, and then I joined the Marines, and I was traveling around the world, and I was visiting different churches around the world. And I was just exposed to a lot of really good musicians that love God. And that was one of the biggest influences for me wanting to play rock and roll. Because there was always a tie with rhythm and blues and gospel and rock. And so that's what I became passionate about. And with the Heroine, we had to find ourselves for a minute because we were kind of lost. We didn't know what our sound was going to be when we first started out. We knew we wanted to play music, but there was so much going on. Metal, there was a lot of hardcore. And we came up in a time where, As I Lay Dying and Black Dahlia Murder and all these bands were coming up. And so our agent at the time was putting us on the road with those bands. So we're playing with those bands. And so I'm not a metal vocalist. I can't scream and I can't do that stuff. I wish I could. I just can't. I sing the way I sing, and I knew it wasn't metal. So being on tour and on the road with those bands, though, created a kind of intensity in us because every time we played with them, we felt like we had to measure up to that kind of energy.
Okay.
But how are we going to do that as a rock band?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that kind of helped us grow and understand, if you're going to compete at that level, and you're going to play rock music, you have to throw a show like that.
Yeah.
Like a hardcore show, or but have that kind of energy in a rock and roll band, and that's kind of our morph. It was rough because we did tours where we were playing with Haste the Day and All That Remains in Michigan, and their fans were rolling their eyes at us. They were like yawning. I remember one time we're playing a packed house in Grand Rapids, Michigan with Haste the Day, and it was All That Remains, and it was packed house. Everyone, it was just packed.
Yeah.
We were like second in the lineup, and I'll never forget, they did not like us.
Fuck.
And I remember this one kid in a pink polo shirt had his collar popped up, and
Okay.
he looked at me and he just yawned. It's kind of, that stirred me up, and that I think that made us at that time. That was a time in our young career where we realized we have to put on a show.
Yeah,
can't be like everything else. So that's when we just developed ourselves into what we are today.
Love that story, man. And you forget that guy. You remember the polo and everything.
I'll never forget that guy. he inspired me to work even harder, man.
Yeah. And was there a particular singer that made you want to become a singer?
Um,
Was it maybe that pastor?
yeah, Don Minner was one of them.
Yeah.
I think I'm a big Kirk Franklin fan. I love Kirk Franklin,
Yeah. All
and
right.
I love Kirk Franklin and John P. Key, and I love Hezekiah Walker and T.D. Jakes. I love T.D. Jakes, and so and then I love James Brown. I love Joe Cocker. You know, I just there's a lot of bands that I just old school bands that I admire, and bands like that were coming up or around when we were coming up. You know, we've done a lot of work with POD through the years. We were able to Marcus produce a record for us, and
Wow.
he actually signed us to one of his labels when we first started working with him. And
Yeah.
you know, we've done a lot of work with them, and POD was really they were a big help in our career. You know, we got discovered by Motley Crue in 2008.
Oh,
Motley Crue and Guitar Center and Gibson. They had this big contest, and we ended up falling into the contest because a guy named Mike from Corpus Christi, he was their old bass player. Remember Mike, their old bass player back in the day?
Mike Leal?
Yes, I think it
Yes.
was Mike Liao. Mike
Yeah.
Mike messaged me in 2007 or something, and he said, "Hey, you guys should enter this contest." And I was like, "We don't do contests. Like, we didn't do Battle of the Bands. That wasn't our thing."
I
But
know
I
it.
remember I went ahead and submitted for it on Reverb Nation. And then the band was the Heroine was already doing well. We're making a name for ourselves. We'd already been touring, but for some reason, Guitar Center liked us, and they
Yeah.
called me up, and they flew us to LA, and we did an audition for them, and then they put us in this final six. I call it a showcase, but it was like a final six competition to play for Motley Crue. Like so they flew us out there, and Motley Crue was really cool to us.
Wow.
Tommy Lee really dug the band, and
Uh,
we were playing, and we're just watching them go off during our set, and they really helped our career a lot. So as that time went on, we began working with POD. You know, kind of Marcus. We've done some tours with his other band, the Accident Experiment. So Marcus became my friend. We'd hang out. He at the time he'd been kicked out of POD, and so him and I became friends, and we were just always talking. And he was just a good friend to me, always encouraging me about music and just a big supporter. He'd always come to our shows when we were in San Diego, and
yeah.
we signed a deal with Universal Records and EMG in 2012, and we happened to be our managers wanted us to go to NRG Studio in North Hollywood. NRG Studios with Jay Baumgartner. Jay Baumgartner produced some of the most amazing bands in the early 2000s. You know, up until now, he's still doing amazing work. But he produced freaking Linkin Park. Papa Roach was his big band, and he, uh, a Texas band. I Deadpool.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He produced them. And
All
so
right.
our managers took us to the studio to meet Jay. And thank God POD was there, because we rolled up to the studio and POD was just like talking us up to Jay Baumgartner. Well, then
Wow.
they started going to
Cool.
our shows. Whenever we played in LA, he'd come to our shows and he'd watch us. And then we did some South by Southwest things with one of his bands that he liked, put us at South by Southwest with him. Well, then Jay just liked us and offered our label to be our producer. So then we were flying back and forth to LA, and he was you know, working with us to write some new music, and
Yeah.
we ended up doing 2 songs with Jay, and they turned out really good. But
Ooh.
we had our label just kind of, our managers just mismanaged us. They just did a poor job managing us, and
Damn. All right.
things just didn't work out the way we expected. And I think that's what happened in 2014 when our guitarist quit the band and we're leaving, because that December we were on tour, we're playing shows in Seattle, and we had all this press. We were like, everything great was happening for the band. We had publicists, we had all these great things happening, and we it's December 2013, and our label, one of our executives calls us, and he's like, "Hey man, we're gonna release this record that you guys finished writing. We did the songs from the Southland. Jay did one song on that album.
All right.
And then so we put that together ourselves because the label had us go to LA and track with studio musicians, me and our guitar player, and the songs were terrible. Like they're
Oh, okay.
So here's 2013. We are in Seattle. Our label calls us that they want to release our new record, but we were so hurt and upset with them. We told them we didn't want to be on their label anymore, and they were in breach of contract with us because they just totally screwed us up for 6 months. They just messed us up, and so the executive threatened to recoup us all the money, and they were going to hold us to a big fine, a big amount of money, a big debt. But I was able to threaten him with some stuff that I can't really discuss, publicly. But I was able to threaten him, and he went ahead and released us and gave us all of our masters. That's why we own the Playing for Keeps record, because Universal EMG released Playing for Keeps, but now we own that record.
Awesome.
And so that led up to 2014, and then the tour. Everyone was like, we got kicked in the balls. We were just devastated. We didn't have a record label anymore.
Yeah.
And here we were thinking we're gonna be this huge band because we had a manager, we had agents, we had publicists, we had everything you think the industry had to offer. They took us from having 100 followers on Twitter to overnight we got 500,000 followers on Twitter.
Wow.
Overnight. Yeah. And
Incredible.
It was like they had all these things in place, but it just wasn't real.
Okay.
And this is where I started feeling like there's something going wrong, because when we were in LA recording a new record, it was just me and my guitarist Derek, the guy that quit the band. They flew us two out there. We were there for 10 days, and it was the worst experience you can imagine as an artist being treated by a label that was Universal. It was Universal Records, and we were just treated so terribly. It was just it was bad. And so it just left I think leaving on tour in November, all the band breakdown, everyone was discouraged. We were just heartbroken. Our families it felt like our families were disappointed in us. Our friends were disappointed in us. It was just a hard thing. But
yeah, that's a bad time. Yeah,
it was. And then we came out of it, and then COVID hit. And it's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
It was rough.
Damn, man. So what was your first band?
My first band, I was in a Christian rock band. I'm embarrassed to say it. I love the Lord, and it wasn't that I was embarrassed to be in a Christian rock band, but it was kind of like I was searching for who I was musically, because I had all these influences. So before I started touring with this band, we were just in San Antonio trying to figure our stuff out. We were just kind of, and I was singing. I was doing a lot of singing. I didn't know how to scream or yell or do any of that stuff. I was just singing like worship songs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And playing the church and just playing the church circuit. Well, this label came around, and we kind of morphed into kind of what was popular at the time, kind of rap rock type stuff. And so I was trying that, not knowing who I was. I was just searching. And so we that label did pretty well with us, man. They got us 2 top 10 singles on the R&R charts, and they did, they did us right,
Hell yeah.
But I had a problem selling my faith. I had a problem with going into a church and saying, buy my record because I'm a Christian. Buy my merch because I love God. I have a problem with that. So I ended up leaving that. I left Nashville, came back home, and started over. Then that's when I started with the Heroine. And we just basically locked ourselves in rehearsal rooms. We were playing, we were hitting the road touring, we're developing ourselves. And then finally in 2000, I'd say probably 2007, we found our sound. Wow. And it was I remember we found our sound when we were in Springfield, Missouri. Okay. It was like something hit us, and we just knew what we were supposed to do. Bam. And then we just that's how we morphed into what we are.
At that moment, what was that song? Was there a particular song that just like
there was a song called Liar Shorthand.
Liar Shorthand. What release was?
I think it's on the let me look. I think it's on the Playing for Keeps record.
Playing for Keeps. Okay.
Keeps record. Let me look here.
You put out what, maybe about 7 releases or more?
We put about 5 releases out.
Okay.
4 of them are EPs, 3 of them are full lengths. So 4 EPs and 3 full lengths.
Okay.
So the let's see here. The Heroine, right? So Playing for Keeps. I'm sorry. Love is a Gun.
Love is a Gun. Okay.
But Liar Shorthand was like before we wrote Love is a Gun, it was kind of like we were playing, and I was searching because I wanted to be a minister. I went to Bible college. I wanted to be a minister, but I wanted to be a musician. I have a hard time, like I said, selling my faith. I can't expect you to buy my record because I love God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and no offense to anyone that does that. If that's what they do, hey man, that's good. That's good. I just felt bad doing that. But we were in Springfield, Missouri, and I remember we're playing the show at the place called Rock Island, and I looked at the audience and I realized that they were being entertained. It was like entertainment, but at the same time, for me, it was like ministry. I was able to share my story without having to be, religious.
Yeah.
Able to, and then I remember jumping off stage and I was dancing on the floor, doing some mic stuff.
All right.
Like, this is it. And then we came home and then we just would practice all the time. And we practiced in this room. This was my sanctuary. This is
right there. All right.
And that's when it was, man. I think that's when it started for us, finding our sound.
Wow. What a life-changing moment that was. And I know what you mean, just kind of coming across that the realization, like, hell yeah, this is the magic we've been searching for. Right. Yeah. Let's keep growing off, feeding off of this monster right here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, definitely you've been grinding this unique sound since then. So tell me about a couple of your favorite shows that you've been able to be a part of.
River City Rock Fest was my favorite thing in the world.
What year was that? Who was the headliner?
That was from 2012 to 2018.
Wow.
I was here in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And I was able to learn a lot about with the Heroine. I was able to learn about marketing. I was able to learn a lot about endorsements and also a lot about promotion. And so I just found favor with AEG Live and Spurs Sports Entertainment. And they approached me for a meeting one day, and then they explained to me what they were doing and how they wanted to do River City Rock Fest. And it was almost like God just said to them, use Lynwood. And I got, it was the best season of my life up until now, because I was able to promote the Rock Fest. I was always at the Spurs games promoting the Rock Fest. And they were paying me to do this stuff. They were paying me to go on radio. I was doing television interviews, and I got to play some of the best shows of my life on that stage at the AT&T Center. So for me, River City Rock Fest will always be, we played with Kid Rock, Alice in Chains, Def Leppard. It was just amazing.
Hell yeah.
So it's hard to say out of all those shows. Okay, 2018 was the best.
All right.
That was the best.
So kicked in, yeah.
And so the Heroine played the main stage, and I was able to work it out with AEG Live and Spurs Sports Entertainment. So when I got done playing the main stage with the Heroine, immediately after I got done, the revival was going to start.
Wow.
On a middle stage in another section. So that was one of my highlights of my life, because I'm playing with the Heroine, and I had already in my mind made a plan. I didn't tell anyone what. I usually walk off the stage when the Heroine ends their set. I just dance off the stage and they finish doing big solos. We didn't do that last night because I think we didn't want to take too much time for the last band. But I'll never forget, we're ending our set, and I jump off the main stage in the front, and I'm walking through the crowd, giving everyone high fives, and I'm walking straight to the other stage. And Rockfest ends, one ends and one starts. It doesn't. There's no stop. It's like stage one ends, stage two starts, stage two ends, and there's no lulls in between.
Right.
And so when I'm leaving the Heroines, I have the Revival up there, and I have a horn section with the Revival, and they were playing the Blues Brother theme song. So it was the coolest thing. So
Yeah.
I walked from the Heroine across the festival, giving high fives. I had a film crew following me. I was walking up. Then I walked up on stage with the Revival. I threw a different jacket on. I grabbed my guitar, and then
Whoa.
boom, we started the set. It was like, that's a highlight of my life.
That's a fucking rock star moment right there.
And then what's cool is after that, I left to the third stage, or the second main stage, and Drowning Pool was playing. And Stevie from Drowning Pool, him and I are just good. Like we're not the greatest of friends, but he knows me. He knows me. Yeah. And so he's like, he sees me side stage, because part of my job with Rockfest was I had to go around and network and talk to people. And well, Stevie sees me during Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, and he's like, he points at me, gets me to the microphone. So like, I played all three stages that day, and I was singing "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor." It was the coolest thing, man. That was probably one of the best days of my life.
Unforgettable, dude.
Yeah. So I got to play with the Heroine, the Revival, and I got to sing with Drowning Pool.
Shit,
and that was amazing.
Trifecta.
It was a trifecta. It was just,
and hell yeah, definitely unforgettable right there.
Yeah.
So you do a lot of touring, and I remember when we were sitting on the panel last week. You kind of that you know quarterly you like to hit the road at least a couple of weeks. What's your favorite thing about being out on the road and touring?
It definitely is not being away from my wife. And I've learned over the years, when you're on tour, you don't call home and brag about where you are.
Yeah, right.
Hey, babe, I'm in Hollywood right now, and I'm hanging out with so-and-so. You don't do that. You just let it ride.
Yeah.
But I think what I love the most is playing in a town where no one has seen you before.
Yeah.
And I love the feeling of going in there and leaving our mark as a from Texas, as a local band, San Antonio, Texas. I love the feeling of going, and I'll be real with you. I'm Hispanic. And I always feel, and I sometimes, I still feel it. No one expects a Hispanic band to kind of do something cool when it comes to rock and roll. It's just like there's
where you're coming from.
You know what I mean? You're right. So we did a show in Kansas City, and this gentleman that I'm gonna mention, he's a great friend of mine, and he's very into Hispanic culture. We all got tattoos that said "Hermanos" on our hand. All of us, we all got the same. But we got there, and he was like, "Y'all Mexicans, right on." and it's not. That's not the first time we ever got that. We did a show in Tulsa, and people were like, "Y'all Mexicans," and it was kind of like, pride, because people don't expect that, and it's a weird thing because there's a lot of talented Hispanics that play rock and roll.
Hell yeah.
They've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
But a lot of times people don't, I feel like it's not respected. There's not the respect in that scene. And so I felt like as a Hispanic, as a proud Mexican, my parents are Mexican. My dad is very proud Mexican. We would go there and people wouldn't talk to us. And when you're done playing, they're talking to you.
Big time.
They're buying your merch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we did this stuff. We used to play at Six Flags a lot in Dallas.
Cool.
People would like look at us weird and like not talk to us.
Yeah.
And we always felt like, man, people aren't good. And then we play our show, and then the merch table would be full of people, and they just be like. So I think that's one of the funnest things I love. The second thing is I love the travel. I love waking up in another town. I think it's just my formative years in life. I was in the Marine Corps, and so
all right,
you meet different people. You just go to different, you get stationed somewhere new, and it's just different. And so
Yeah.
it's kind of like, it gives me that feeling of I'm with my unit, which is the Heroine, and we have a mission to go play rock and roll, and we're in this freaking tight van, almost like you're in a tank or a helicopter, or there's some, and you're going, and then it's just the feeling of rolling up to, Tucson, Arizona, or Phoenix, or Las Vegas, and
Yeah.
there's nothing like it. And I think everyone, I think any band that plays in another city, whether you're from Corpus, you're playing in San Antonio, or you're from San Antonio playing in Austin, or Austin playing in, I think just to feel like I'm playing in a different town, you know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
special feeling, and I think
Or,
that's
yeah.
what I love.
I know exactly where you're coming from, because when you're the new kid on the block and going to a new town where you never played, and you go in there, and no one's talking to you. They're like, who are these guys, man? We'll see what Corpus, if I go out of town, it's like, we'll see what Corpus is made of. And then you go there and you kill the crowd.
Yeah.
And people come up and give you, high fives, want to shake your hand, take pictures, and buy the merch.
Yeah.
Sense of accomplishment, and
It is.
that gratitude. You turn back to the band and said, hey dude, we did it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Under our belt.
It is, man.
That's, I know that love, man. In my what I do a couple of cover bands, one called Fistful of Metal, another one called Headbang Pit, and I got a tribute band called Vulgar Display of Power, and also got an original band called Existing Anger.
Like, we're the same person, bro.
Yeah, I know, man. So that's why I was like, wow, dude. But you've taken it to where it needs to be for you, man. You know what I mean? And when you were at the panel the other day, you kind of you put things in perspective that every artist needs to do. You need to decide, where do you want this thing to go? Do you want to go to the road, or are you going to be a local band? Or are you just going to record? Decide what you want to do, and get yourself to those guys that are like-minded, so that way you can be successful at what your goal is.
Yeah.
And me being a family guy, and me having a day job, really kind of established my roots in town. So I became very comfortable being that weekend warrior. And it's something that I've just been adaptable to, and really just eating it up and enjoying playing with a bunch of different group of guys.
Right
and
on.
Enjoying that feeling you get with every group that you get, because it's different.
It is.
It's different.
It's
and
like
winning the crowd's over with these other guys just it feels fucking amazing, dude. And being able to express yourself in different ways in your different projects is so rewarding.
It is, man. I tell me and John, we're a family. So like, we fight, we go at each other. One time me and John were in Kansas City playing a show, and him and I literally got in a fight, dude. I body slammed him on the floor. And he got up, and we were fighting.
Yeah.
And the next morning we're loving each other again. We're just like, oh, I'm sorry, bro. So it's a family, and we do have some, but John and I both know that if we could, we'd play every day with the Heroine. It would be like, but as you get older, I had a meeting with the band the other day. It's like, I was lucky to spend my 20s and 30s touring.
Yeah.
I was touring and playing rock and roll, raising a family. And now I'm going to be 50, right? And when I see young guys not touring, it turns me, and I get upset. But I have to understand, and I had to tell the band this, they're not me. I can't expect them to do in their 20s and 30s what I did, because we have different circumstances.
Yeah.
Different things going on in life.
Right.
So, but we all understand that if we could, we'd do it every single day with the Heroine. But you know what? We can't. And then we have to, I'm a creative person. I have to write. I have to play. And so if the Heroine can't, which everyone in the band knows that this is our number one thing.
Yeah.
We all know it. But when we can't do it, we all have something we do when we can't do the Heroine. And for me, it's the Revival.
Very cool. Very cool. It's kind of you got a backup plan, and a backup plan for that backup plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, man. I dig it. Definitely awesome. So in regards to the tour, and before we step off of that, would you agree that the thing that sucks about touring is being away from your family and your wife and the kids?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the top sucky thing about being away and being on the road?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's you have, like, my wife knows she's number one, but
Yeah.
you have to. She never bothers me on tour. Like, she'll never text me at 7 in the morning asking me what I'm doing. She knows when I'm on the road, my schedule is flip flopped. So I'm sleeping till 10 or 11 in the morning because I leave a club at 2 or 3 in the morning. We drive for 3 or 4 hours, and so she's really good about respecting what I do because she met me doing this.
All
But
right.
at the same time, I always have to be aware that she needs my attention and affection even when I'm on the road. So, I'll flowers sometimes, or I'll make sure I'm texting her throughout the day, letting her know how much I love her and that there's no one else but her. And she'll always text me, stay away from the floozies. Stay away from the floozies.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know what you're talking. Hey, man. Yeah, I love your moves on stage, dude. You have like a James Brown, kind of thing going on, and you just got so much soul, and you're on fire, man.
Yeah,
And when I'm on stage, I'm that same kind of guy, bro, because I like to get in there, and I love being on the floor because it gives you that to get in there and seep into the pockets and get a little closer to people.
Mm-hmm.
When you got that kind of fire that you're on stage, it's no wonder that your wife's saying stay away from the floozies, because you turn the crowd on, man, and you're
I appreciate that, man.
A fireball of fucking hard rocking fucking, yeah, dude. I'm looking for the word for it. That night rocker, dude.
Oh yeah,
dude. The real deal. I love it, man.
Thanks,
so
brother.
how do you do it like that? Are you having a caffeine drink, or is it just totally all natural that you just flip the switch when the lights come on and bam?
I'm a sick man. I have liver disease, so I have
shit.
I have stage 3 liver disease.
Oh no.
Yeah, and so I'm fatigued all the time. So I gotta take meds. To help me. It gives me energy, but I drink a 5-hour energy before we play just to give me a boost, because I'm tired all the time and it's hard. But by the grace of God, I'm still able to do it.
Yeah.
I need a little bit of help, man. That coffee and 5-hour energy get me through the shows a lot of times.
I hear you, man. And let me ask you this. I usually do like with the cover bands, we do the all-nighters. We do 3 sets of, an hour's worth of music. Mm-hmm. And those nights in between sets, because maybe I didn't get myself very hydrated and I'm doing a 5-hour energy and drinking a rock star at the same time, you get dehydrated by the second or third set.
Yeah.
Where you start cramping out.
I get like I want to fall down, like I want to fall out. So with the heroine, it's different because I get like I want to fall out in the 3rd or 4th song.
Oh shit.
Yeah. But with the revival, I usually sit down in a chair and I play for 4 hours, and it's just simple. It's 2 different worlds for the heroine, which reminds me, I have to load in. I was supposed to be loading in at 4.
Yeah.
So I might have to break out soon, brother.
Okay, no sweat. Let me speed things up real quick. How we got? Maybe 10?
Yeah, about 10 minutes, or maybe a little less. I still gotta load my guitars. I totally forgot.
I dig it. Let me jump to the last segment of my show, man.
All right.
It's a segment I like to call Draw the Line, where I give you some subjects and you just tell me who's your favorite out of these guys, all right? Okay, cool. Let's get started with today's episode of Draw the Line. I got 2 singers I want to hit you with first.
Okay.
Who do you prefer out of these 2 guys? Robert Plant versus Ozzy Osbourne.
I have to say Robert Plant, man. I
love
Robert Plant.
Let me give you the next one then. How about Chris Cornell versus Lane Staley?
I like Chris Cornell.
Oh, what a powerhouse vocal.
Yeah.
I dig it. I like the power and the presence that he always brought. And Lane's a master of what.
Yeah. Chris Cornell, I think he's been so influential though, man. I think it's
absolutely. Let's hit this next one. How about these rockers? These 2 bands, Fu Manchu versus Red Fang.
Red Fang.
Red Fang. Oh, they hit hard, dude.
We played a couple of shows with those guys, and they're just they took us under their wing, and they're good people, man. And they write good music.
Yeah, there we go. I love it.
Yeah.
How about these two guys? Clutch versus Monster Magnet.
Clutch every time. We've done some touring with Clutch.
Oh shit.
Neil is awesome. He's a good dude. Like he replies to my text messages. He's just a good guy, and he invited us to do some shows with him. And it'll always be Clutch because I mean I want to sound like Clutch. I tell the band we need to write some clutchy songs.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't blame you, dude. They're bad. They're such a fucking rock machine, man. They're awesome. I love those guys. How about these two bands? Wolf Mother versus the Queens of the Stone Age.
I don't really know. I haven't really listened to either one of those bands very much. I do know Wolf Mother. I followed the singer on Instagram. I didn't really get to hear too much about him, but I know David loves Wolf Mother. So I side with Wolf Mother because David would always talk about them.
Killer. I dig them. I dig Wolf Mother. They're rockers. And then I got one more for you. I think I know we're going to go with this one because I feel like your blues roots are going to favor this guy. But both these guys are just fucking powerhouse singer guitar players. I want to see where you stand when it comes to Dave Grohl versus George Thorogood.
I like Dave Grohl a lot, but I love Thorogood because he's writing some amazing songs, and I just love his style.
Yeah.
Like if I had to pick which one I'd want to be as far as music and talent wise and song, it'd be Thorogood, George Thorogood.
Man, that's where I was feeling, man, because you know the Heroine's got a fucking strong blues rock and roll fucking beast going on, and that's kind of like Thorogood, man. The way he on stage playing the guitar is the way he's soulful, like the same way you guys are soulful.
Right on.
It's a rock and roll gospel going on up there.
That's what we love, man.
We're praising the rock gods. You know, God is at the same time, you know what I mean? Because all is good. And man, so fucking awesome, man. I love seeing you guys play. I've been sporting your shirt, man.
Right on, man.
Love it, man. Fuck yeah, dude. And I want to keep supporting the Heroine and your projects. I'm looking forward to hopefully catch revival. Maybe next time I'm in San Antonio. And so tell me what's coming up next for you. What can we let?
I've been playing there's a nice little spot here called Mr. Krabby's. I've been jamming at, and it's a fun spot.
Yeah,
it was pretty good, and I get to just sit down and play with Tito and my brother Dimitri, and but the Heroine's got like really 5 good shows we're gonna build around the next 6 months. The one of the biggest ones is coming up on April 8th we'll be playing with Upon a Burning Body, which are good friends of ours here in San Antonio.
Yeah,
gonna be at a festival at Alamo Brewery called the Chancla Festival. Academy. He's a TikTok star, so he's got a lot of TikTok following. But that's our next big show is here in San Antonio. We're playing that festival, and it's a free event. So anyone in corporate want to come jam with us, come on out. It's gonna be free.
That sounds great. And you know what? Do you have your own podcast?
I just do streaming. I do TikTok streaming and YouTube streaming.
Oh.
I have my little show. I call it the Lynwood King show, but it's not really nothing set. It's just I just get on whenever I want, and I push play, and I have my theme song, and I get on there and just talk and play some music, but I do that on TikTok.
Very fucking cool.
YouTube.
Yeah, dude, I caught some of your show. I looked up the Lynwood King show.
Right on, man.
Yeah, I was like, hey, man, this is cool. I love all the audience at the beginning, the theme song. Yeah. You do a good job at it, man. Fucking great. Thanks. Well, Lynn, I know you got a lot to get going today. Let me let you get back to the rocking. Man, so it's such a pleasure having you last week. And thanks. Yeah, it was already last week.
Yeah, last week.
Making some time for me today.
Thank you for inviting me, brother.
When you're back in Corpus, brother.
I will, man. Thank you. I'm going to text you here in a minute, man. God bless you. Thanks for letting me be on here, man. You be safe. And anytime you need something, let me know, brother.
That sounds great. Guys, thanks for tuning in today to the Tony Gomez Show. Make sure you do everything you can to keep up with Lynwood King and the Heroine and the Revival. Check them out. If you guys are in San Antonio and you hear about the Revival,
Yes,
go
sir.
tell them you saw them on the Tony Gomez show. Lynn, keep grinding.
I will, brother. God bless you, man.
God bless you too. We'll see you guys.
I'm gonna head out. I'll see you later, Tony. God bless you, brother.
Yeah.
Even, brother.
See you guys later.